Aha! So, hello. Well, today I'd like to do a video about my uncles. All of them deceased now, unfortunately. They all had a good life. They all lived until they were 92, even though obviously they were brothers and they were born in various different years. I can't remember exactly when they were born, but this was my Uncle Joe, Joseph Joe. Everyone knew him as Joe. And he was in the Royal Navy during World War II, and he served on the HMS Rodney. He served on some sort of minesweeper, and he served on the HMS Indefatigable, which was an aircraft carrier. And he went all around the world. He was in the Spanish Civil War in 1936 as well. So he'd signed up long before World War II had started, and he rose to the rank of Chief Petty Officer. He was a really tough man, I can tell you. He was the hardest man I've ever known. He wouldn't think twice about punching someone to the floor if he didn't like him. And he kept getting demoted to petty officer, and then of course they realised that they needed him big time as CPO, chief petty officer, so they put him back up again. But here he is. You can see he's wearing his Royal Navy I forget what they call it now. I think they call it a jumper in actual fact, a Royal Navy jumper. But there you go. There he is with his shirt. Massive bloke, really, maybe not massive in height, but he was huge built. You know, he was built like a brick shit house. He loved me to bits, though. He never laid a finger on me. He was always just putting my head under his arm and try and squeeze me as a gesture of friendship. You know. He was a lovely chap. I really loved him to bits. He was like a second dad in a way. Sadly long gone now. So that's Joe. So he was the eldest of my mum's brothers. My mum was one of four. This was Joe. He was the first child to my grandma Maria and my grandfather John, who I never met. This was the middle brother. This is Alan. Alan had an interesting life because he joined the 4th West Lancashire Royal Artillery in the Second World War. He went to the Heraklion in Crete, where he witnessed an absolute turkey shoot of the German paratroopers dropping. He said it was one of the worst things he's ever seen in his life. And then he went to Tobruk in North Africa, where he was promptly captured. And this picture is of him in his battle dress uniform, whilst he was a prisoner in a German prison camp in Reise am Elbe, Stalag 4B, I think it was. They were very good to him. The Germans were very good to him. They loved him because he had this very blonde hair and, of course, and blue eyes, and he looked very Germanic, and so they thought he was the bee's knees, you know. But this photograph was taken by a German prisoner, prison, whatever they were, the guard or whatever. It's one of the nicest photos, my mum says, that was ever taken of Alan, her brother Alan, my uncle Alan. Again, a lovely man, very easygoing, but a tough geezer, you know. I mean, that you didn't muck them out, you know what I mean. My uncles were tough men. They were originally from Warrington in the north, and they'd gone south with their mum and dad for work, you know. Well, dad had gone, my grandfather John Gleave, who I never met, as I said. He died before I was born. He died in the late 1950s. He went south for work, and he took his sons with him, obviously. But you can see the old jumper there, the old army issue jumper, and this battle dress uniform of the era, which would have been he was an artillery a gunner. He was a gunner Alan Gleave. So that's my Uncle Alan, bless him. And this is my Uncle Arthur. Now, my Uncle Arthur was the youngest of the three brothers. My mum's the youngest of all. She's the kid's sister. So, but Arthur was the one that looked after my mum. And Arthur was in the Royal Air Force. He was in Bomber Command. He did loads and loads of missions in a Lancaster, night missions over Germany and other places. It was amazing he survived, actually. I think they were shot down once, but they managed to kind of land in sort of safety. I don't know how they did it. And there's a whole load of stories about him that I really should make a video on individually. But you can see he's wearing his RAF forage cap here. And I believe because he was a wireless operator air gunner, I believe that somehow, that white flash somehow represents that position that he was in. Another brave man, I'm afraid long dead now as well. He was very, very funny. Out of the three uncles, Arthur was the funniest of all. And as he got older, his eyebrows grew like an owl, and they were huge, these great big eyebrows that he had. And he used to, whenever he met me, he used to go, woohoo, twit the woo. He was brilliant. He loved his pints as well. He loved to drink. He wasn't an alcoholic or anything, but he was just highly entertaining. And I once said to him, "Oh, this is a good pub, Uncle," and we'd gone to somewhere near Marlow in Buckinghamshire, and it was an out of the way pub. And I said, "How on earth would you find a place like this though? It's so lovely." And he looked at me and he said, "It's a life's work, lad." Bless him. But he was incredible. He did many more missions than he should have done in Lancashires. He was, as I say, shot at every night, flak hitting them. Sometimes they'd come back with like just an engine burning or something. It was horrific. He was probably the most hard hit out of them all in the World War II, in the Second World War, I should say. But anyway, there they are. They're my uncles. I'm very, 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 very proud of them. I recently got this sort of inspiration because a great channel that I watch, Steel Helmet Stan. Cheers, Stan, bro. He was doing a video about his family and what they were doing in the war, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe I should do one about mine. Anyway, there they are, my three uncles, long dead, as I say. They all lived till they were 92. They all lived till they were 92, there they are. Hats off to them. Blessings. Thanks ever so much for watching. If you've got this far, you